One, and we are now live. So everybody, sorry about the wait. We've just had a few technical issues with getting Paige onto the chat. So I'm going to try in the background and get Paige on here. But we have Artsy Marie and Michael Nash and Nate Barsetti. Am I pronouncing that right, Nate?
Yep, Barsetti, that's right.
Barsetti. So Nate is our moderator, and he's kindly on loan from Facebook Reality Labs, and we are going to be talking about creators in the universe of Horizon and Rec Room and VR avatars and arts and creating digital worlds. Nate, because Paige isn't here at the moment and she'll be talking about Horizon, somehow turn the question on yourself to talk about Horizon, because I know there's a lot of people wanting to know about that and the beta and what's maybe you can maybe talk about Paige's work for if I can't get her in. So
let's hope to get her in. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'm going to hope to get her in, but
I
don't want to lose this opportunity. So we'll promote a work a bit, or I'll think of a workaround. So yeah, okay. Over to you. We've got till 8 o'clock. See you soon.
Great. Thanks, Mark. Welcome to today's panel, a discussion at Immersive Arts Lab 9. All day we've been talking about avatars in the digital worlds we live in. We've heard some fascinating presentations from Jacqueline and Graham. We're going to continue that. We're going to talk about social VR and creating exciting and compelling experiences in social VR. My name is Nate Barsetti. I work on the media content team at Facebook Reality Labs. I've been working in virtual worlds for about 13 years, and more specifically social VR for about 6. I'm joined by hopefully three. I got 2 right now, but hopefully 3 talented and passionate individuals who represent creators from a variety of social VR platforms. First off, we have Artsy Marie. She's the owner of Artsy and VR and co-founder of Metaculture VR. Also, we have Michael Nash. He's a young creator who uses Rec Room to build and to teach others how to build their own rooms and inventions on that platform. Hopefully, pretty soon we'll be joined by Paige Danziger. She's the creator of the Better World Museum in Facebook Horizon. But before we get started with the panelists here, this year has been quite a period of advancement in virtual worlds and social VR platforms. Not only has the general world populace become more comfortable with constant remote meetings and virtual events, but gaming platforms like Fortnite and Roblox have really come into their own with headliner musical events like Travis Scott and Lil Nas X, pulling insanely huge audiences into these gaming environments. In the VR space, there has been huge growth due to increase in headset sales, paired with people at home looking just to get away from the same 4 walls during this pandemic. At any given time, social VR platforms constitute a huge number of people online on the Oculus platform. It's really exciting to see, having seen it grow from the early days, the pre-Rift days in Altspace, to where we are now, where there's just a vibrant community across multiple platforms. We'll discuss today what it means to exist as an avatar in this rapidly growing universe of people and experiences. Incredible moments have happened in VR this year, from the insanely successful Burning Man in Altspace to the Notre Dame New Year's event with Jean-Michel Jarre, presented by VR Room and VR Chat. The accessibility of the creation tools on these platforms, be it working with primitive objects, building in VR, or importing full Unity scenes, both of these have really unlocked incredible creativity in social VR environments. We'll discuss the various tools these folks use, and we'll also discuss some of the emerging paths to monetization in VR. So enough for me. I'd love to kick it over first to Artsy. to tell us first off, what you work on, what what your focus is in VR, and maybe touch on your genesis story. Like, how did you end up working in this space?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. So I am primarily a photographer and digital artist, as in illustration. But I got into VR when the pandemic hit. Like, I've been in VR for a few years, but like really heavy when the pandemic hit. And I got into alt space really heavy. And I just really took to the ease of the creation tools in there, like the in-world building tools. But then as I traveled around those worlds in my avatar, I immediately got hooked on, the more realistic type worlds, because I come from a simmer, like the Sims background. And so I really wanted to dive straight into, learning how to use Unity and Blender and SketchUp to make these incredible renders of, luxurious places that I've never been, that I've always wanted to experience, in real life. So I'm making my dreams and other people's dreams come true, and doing it in a social VR space.
That's awesome. So tell me a little bit about the objects and environments that you're creating and bringing into alt space. Can you give us some examples?
Yeah. So I've been an artist my entire life. One of my biggest dreams was to have an art gallery. So the first thing that I brought in was an art gallery. So I have a big museum, full of my my artwork. And then as I started building worlds, like I was building experiences for people to enjoy. Like I have like a yacht world. I have, private jets. I have like various lofts and penthouses, party buses. Like I just like to create like this luxury experience. I live in a 1-bedroom apartment, and I want to go on these luxury experiences, and I couldn't travel during the pandemic, so I built them myself, and built them for other people to enjoy too.
That is awesome. Yeah, I used to have sorry, please continue.
No, like now that I've gotten into world building, other people come to me. So now I've like found myself like building offices and nightclubs and businesses like commercial venues and theaters. You name it, I've probably built it.
That's awesome. So I used to have a party spaceship when I worked at AltSpace. How about you invite me to your party bus, and I'll invite you to my my party spaceship.
Absolutely. And I did build like the ethereal worlds as well as part of Burning Man when they came into AltSpace.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I checked that out. It was phenomenal. The amount of creators that were involved in that, and the multiple different pillars of the virtual Burning Man this past fall, really spectacular. The Burn Night was super fun. Thanks so much for that. So I want to kick it over to you, Michael. Tell us a little bit about what you do in Rec Room and kind of how you got started.
So for me, I started in Rec Room as just, a typical player, really. Getting used to the virtual reality controller and really just trying to get used to the whole ecosystem of that bit. When I first joined Rec Room, I was on PlayStation VR. In my opinion, it was an eye-opener for me, really. I never knew that I could ever speak to any other people besides, real people, But with Rec Room, I was able to socialize with many other people. Such as like maybe people from around the world, for that matter. And really, back then, without virtual reality, I was just a kid who wouldn't speak at all. Back in high school, I used to not speak at all. I was too shy. But then as soon as I went into Rec Room, I used to speak that loud that my dad used to come in every time, shouting at me, telling me to calm down because I had so much fun. But hey, at least look at me now, eh? I'm up here on these talks, building and everything. I also, in Rec Room, I teach people how to build with the Rec Room, Maker Pen system. I have been teaching for, how would I say? currently around 50 hours, but 50 hours is a lot. I have graduated 2 classes. Graduated one which consists of using circuitry, like opening doors, maybe how to make the sky look different when you walk somewhere. And I've also taught people how to make cartoons as well. Around 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, I have graduated a class called Cartoon Class. Currently in Rec Room, I am labelled as a level 3 Maker Pen teacher, which is usually the highest standard. And in Rec Room, even right before I started teaching, I was actually taught by the community themselves. I joined an event called Maker Pen Bootcamp, which was hosted by Marissa. And I joined, and what an experience that was. It really made me go dead straight in and just doing loads of stuff, especially even through lockdown as well. Lockdown really, obviously had people stuck in their houses. To be honest, most people didn't really have VR headsets at the start. But luckily enough for me, for last Christmas, I asked for a VR headset. So, I had a clear entrance in. So, well, for me to even be, I had built a lot during Maker Pen Bootcamp. I built 3 houses, even though I was supposed to build 1. I made one which was too big, looked like a DJ house. I made one which looked like a theatre, and one which actually looked like a house. It took a while, but I got used to it. And then a couple of weeks after I graduated, and in Rec Room you get a green gown, you get everything. Pretty much the graduation, you actually feel like you've graduated from an actual class, for that matter. And it's a surreal experience. I remember the first time I even graduated Maker Pen Bootcamp, I was shaking my boots when I was going up towards the speech. I was like, oh. But the thing is that because of how immersive that was, literally in reality, I was just standing in my room. But with the VR headset on, it really, really made the experience more surreal for me. And I think, also, I have also built Better World Museum in Rec Room as well, for Paige. Me and Paige, we just met a couple of we met in lockdown when she started to build. No, not build. She tried to have a community built in within different platforms, and luckily with 3 of my friends, I joined, and here I am in this room with Paige. And I was thinking, with how much dedication she's putting into creating these social spaces, she only had just a small room, just a box room with art stuff around. For me, I thought, right, I'm gonna make this into the best thing I can ever do for Paige. And I told her, just wait for a week and I'm gonna build the best room for you. And next week, Paige comes on and there's a huge room I built for her. And it to be honest, it really made her really, really emotional. I think I remember she was crying at the first, and even made me cry as well. But I guess that's what building for Rec Room and Paige, and mainly for other people as well too. It's quite a good experience.
It's funny. I was in Rec Room. Well, first off, I wanted to check out some of your builds in Rec Room, and I stalked you on Facebook and saw a picture that showed your the login screen in Rec Room, and it had your handle in there. So, and I identified who you were in Rec Room, which I don't know if you want me to reverse dox you right now for the virtual worlds. Okay. Your handle's Telekinesis. I recognize the name. I think we've had some experiences together in Rec Room, but I went around and checked out some of your builds. your apartment building. Looks like you have a venue too, like a musical venue. And I found the Better World Museum too, and I saw the hologram of Paige popped up, and I immediately recognized her voice, having spent some time with her in VR, and I was like, oh man, these guys know each other. They're actually collaborating on bringing the Better World Museum to Rec Room. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's
great. So it's too bad that Paige isn't in here yet. Hopefully she does pop in. For when she does, Paige is the founder, the creator of Better World Museum in Facebook Horizon. As you may know, Facebook Horizon is a social VR platform that's in closed beta right now. And I'll just get ahead of any questions. I'm sorry, there aren't any, I don't have any news about when that's going to be more broadly available. Just stay tuned as things get into the state where we're ready to release it to the world. But if you go in, when you do get access to Horizon, please go check out the Better World Museum. Paige is a tour de force in the community. She educates people on building. She brings artists in. She hosts events for amplifying voices and meetups with VR women groups. She's really a cornerstone of the community there. So hopefully she joins us here in a minute, but we'll keep going, and hopefully she shows up here in a second. So today is about avatars and the digital worlds we live in. So thinking about avatars, the comfort of existing as an avatar is something you develop over time. It's not only just the subtleties of operating your gestures on various skeletons and being able to express yourself as this digital creature, but the development of personal identity and your representation of oneself takes some time to develop as well. In VR, we travel from world to world. Our appearance kind of changes as we jump between different platforms. I'd like to explore what it means to build that identity and in relationships with others as a virtual being, and how it can improve your interpersonal connections with the real world. Michael, you're the youngest panelist here. You've been in Rec Room since sounds like when you were 12, and now you are 16. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
So, and you're thinking and you're engaged with education in VR, teaching people how to build. I'd love to understand from you, what have you learned about yourself in spending time in social VR during these kind of formative ages formative years of your life? Has engaging with the community, I think you touched on this a little bit, but has engaging with the community in these platforms had any positive effect on you in your life?
I mean, to even educate other people in Rec Room, it really helps with me socially. I mean, a couple of weeks ago, I started cartoon class, obviously, to start educating people and stuff like that. Being able to teach allows me to have my voice out. I mean, to have my voice allowed and to actually teach people, it's quite a leadership role, to be honest. And really, it helps me as myself to speak to other people in the real world. And for Rec Room, I'll be honest, I thank the people who made Rec Room and to create the creative programs they have done for educating other people on how to use the creator tool. And really, for me socially, it just helps.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So I mean, earlier in the day, Jacqueline was talking about the kind of manifestation of yourself in VR, and how it can be a personal portrayal of yourself. So you build a representation of who you see yourself to be, but then there's also this creation of ideal persona, right? Like what I want to be, what I aspire to be. Artsy, tell me a little bit about your avatar and how you express yourself in Altspace. Do you think of it as a portrayal of yourself, or is it more of an embodiment of an ideal persona?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think when I crafted how I wanted my avatar to look, she looks flawless. And, like, I think avatars have that flawless look, right? Because they're digital and they don't, like, unless you're actually crafting your own, like literally carving your own, like there's not a whole lot of imperfection with the cartoon look, right? But I think with mine, like I wanted her to look like me, so I picked like dark hair. Like I think the only thing that she looks like different than me is that I don't wear a whole lot of dresses. And I don't wear a whole lot of bright dresses. So my avatar wears a whole lot of bright dresses, various colors every day. I change my color every day. And people know me by the color of, by my dress. And I guess, that I keep my face the same way, I might here and there, like reach a little bit and like change my hair color to be a little bit brighter. But for the most part, I think my avatar is pretty much closest to me as possible, given, as close as you can to having the type of hair that, I actually have in real life.
So kind of elements of both then, it sounds like, kind of your personal portrayal and ideal.
Yeah. I didn't want to go too left field, really. Like I still wanted for me to recognize myself. But for me to have a little fun and not have to worry too much.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
He's always put together.
It's interesting. Over the course of last 13 some odd years, I've had a lot of different avatars that I've embodied. And to be honest, like I've had moments where I have almost a spiritual connection with my avatars. As funny as that sounds, I used to work in the early part of my career at Second Life, and I had my work account, which was this demigod Linden persona that would bring everyone in a space to me. It's like, oh my god, a Linden. So I had that whole persona, but then I also had my personal account, which I'll be honest was a member of the roleplay community, and more specifically Star Wars roleplay. Over the course of, I can still get into that account. So I guess 13 years, I became a well-respected grizzled Jedi master in Second Life. And, in the early part of those days, I was learning all sorts of stuff from these large scale role plays with, full, Grand Army of the Republics. As you can see, I like my influence. I almost put this on after Graham's talk about the masks. But I learned a lot about conflict resolution and how to deal with people and trolls and all these kind of like basic skills that have really helped me in the social VR space. Roleplay really is just kind of getting going in social VR. It's a little hard to find. It's not like these massive roleplay communities that pull thousands of people in. I'd love to hear from you, Michael, if you've encountered in Rec Room people who kind of engage in this kind of role playing mentality.
Yeah, I have. Yeah. In Rec Room, there's different groups of people. As I've stated, there's people who tend to roleplay. And then there's people who tend to just have the game as a social game. Really, there's some people in Rec Room who tend to, let's say, do military in Rec Room, or say for building in the skies, Apple role play. I don't know. It's quite a variety of people who do different things within Rec Room. People have different interests, such as different like clubs and nightclubs, and really it's all different.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's I remember too, like back in the SWRP days in Second Life, there was a bunch of JROTC, junior ROTC people that would roleplay military ranks and full full chains of command with armies that would mobilize and go on these missions and stuff. I mean, some of the most exciting times I've ever had in virtual worlds were during those missions. Jumping on a lander as a Jedi with a bunch of clones. I mean, that was awesome. Honestly, I'm looking forward to the days where we can be able to create sophisticated communities where people can engage in these characters. Hey, Artsy, have you experienced any of that in alt space?
We do it every day.
Touche.
Yeah, we do it every day. Like specifically my team, Metaculture, like role playing is one of our favorite things to do. And we're starting to create a lot of content, surrounding that very thing. Like it's one of the funnest things to do with an avatar is to change, like their clothing and try to match it to something that something that you recognize, and then just change your voice to match it, and just have fun, like there's a troll aspect to it, but there's also, like it's genuine fun. Like it's one of the best things. Like if you can catch me in alt space, like around my crew, you're going to laugh your butt off. It's going to be amazing.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah.
So you guys do the whole voice thing and everything too. So because back in Second Life it was all text, and people were gender play and embodying multiple genders and races and all that stuff. So you guys really take on the voices and go really into it.
We've had full on productions. Like we've had parodies and spoofs of all types of things. Like we did a whole VR court parody, like where we had people come in and like they changed their clothes, like they had the big afros, they had the suits on, like playing lawyers, like we had judges, like it's hilarious how people can come up with these like combinations of outfits that exactly what you're looking at when you're looking at it, but you're like, how did you find that in a closet full of wardrobe that we all have? Like, how did you come up with that combination? Like, it's great. The creativity within role playing, like, you can't beat it. And when it comes to my team, we do it every day.
That's awesome. I've noticed that in Rec Room too, where you have a library of goods that many people have. Obviously, there's more rare objects and things have diversified quite a bit in the selection there. But sometimes people just bring the right color combinations together. You wouldn't think that some random muumuu plus a witch's hat and something else just comes together right, and all of a sudden you're the Curious George's man with a big red yellow hat or something like that, right? It's pretty exciting. Do you have anything about your avatar, Michael, that in Rec Room that that really signifies you, or combinations of things that you brought together?
So, my avatar is, it's just purely based on color coordination, to be honest. I mean, what I did was one day, in Rec Room, I just had the default avatar. Just the plain shirt, bald head, the the newbie look. And then one day I started playing loads of games, and obviously in Rec Room, whenever you win a game or you even just complete a game, you get a box, and it can either consist of tokens, food, which I don't really eat, and film, or especially you can even get clothing. And obviously, for me, I got clothing. I was like, "Ooh, I'm going to try some different cosmetics out." I got a decent amount of clothes, but I didn't really make a good avatar, to be honest. I just I made one look like Bear Grylls crossed over with a laser tag person.
Nice.
Yeah, but then I started to play quests, which are like a story-based game within Rec Room where you can play with 4 people, and there's one in particular called Crimson Cauldron, in which where you have this like jacket you have a jacket, and this jacket is really, it's basic in color. You have black, gray, and I presume red. And what I did is I put on a red beret, red gloves, black, red glove on one hand, black glove on another hand, and on the visor, and pretty much the color coordination on that, it looks really good. I would show my avatar on the screen, but would take a while.
Nice. Yeah, I'm rocking the S-Class Curse of the Blood Moon with a Crimson Cauldron crown. Yeah. Nice. Cool. So I'm gonna pivot a little bit here, and I'd like to talk a little bit about the tools and the workflows that you guys use in your building. You touched a little bit on it, but Artsy, I'd love to understand your kind of your workflow and how you get it from concept to the Unity uploader in Altspace.
So first we started in my office, and then so normally if it's something that I'm doing myself, like of course I go through the creative process of either sketching or browsing Instagram or Pinterest for things that like stick out to me. I go on a myriad of looking for tutorials because I am still a newbie. I don't know exactly what I'm doing all the time, but a while ago I was starting in SketchUp, so I was doing a lot of my designs in SketchUp and using various plugins in there. But I just recently switched over to Blender, and for performance and just like better, just like it's up to par when it comes to geometry. People always nailed it, and they were like, "You're using SketchUp," and I was like, "Yeah." It was easy to push and pull, but I switched over to Blender, and it's been my primary tool for modeling my buildings from scratch, and I've been modeling my furniture and my decor items in there as well. And then I transport my FBX files and all my textures over into Unity, and then that's where I do all of my light baking, any particle effects that I want to do, any animations, basically setting up the scene and the environment for it. And then that's when I upload it or I export it as a zip file, which I can then upload onto the website for Altspace, and then make a world in Altspace using my template.
I imagine you iterate at that point to go and check it out and exist inside the space and making sure the volume feels right. Go ahead.
So that template from Unity to that trip from Unity to Altspace happens at least 10 to 15 times to get it right, just because you just never know. I'm trying to come down to a strict formula, but it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of work.
What would you say is the number one thing that you could tell creators who are looking to import their scenes into Altspace? Like, what is the one idiosyncrasy of the Altspace platform that it would be a good good bit of advice for the people watching?
Watch your polygons. It's
A number of them.
Go shopping on asset sites and be googly eyed over what you see and what's possible to bring in. But the more high resolution something looks, the slower the performance and the worse that people aren't going to have as good of a time in that space. But also I give free lessons, so it's easier if you have somebody walk you through it, especially if you're going to go the Unity route. Just come talk to me. I can walk you through the whole process without you having to slave 6 months over YouTube and Unity fail.
Nice. You heard it here, guys. Just go look up Artsy in Altspace. She'll do your whole project for you. No, I'm kidding.
That too.
Michael, over to you. So in Rec Room, there's the Maker Pen, which is how you build and you bring in primitive objects and lay them out there in VR with you. And here we are. We got Paige with us too. Wonderful. Let me finish the question here to Michael, and then we'll bring you in. So good to see you. Yeah. So Michael, tell me a little bit about your process in building these spaces, building these objects with MakerPen, and any advice that you might have for the people watching who want to get started with it. Not hearing you, unfortunately.
Mic was off. Right. Anyway, for the MakerPen, it's quite easy to use as long as you know how to have the tool menu up. The tool menu on the MakerPen just shows everything. For me, it's quite easy to understand. You have the create button, you create something. You want to edit something, you have the edit button. But for me, when it comes to building, so like say for my apartment, yeah, you've been there, Nate, if I'm correct, yeah. You've been to my apartment, right? That was purely just based off my head. No, I wasn't looking at any buildings or anything like that. I just used something off my head and I made something quite good. It was like a chill area for me, to be honest. It took a while, but it came out looking good. With the MakerPen, also sorry, I'm trying to get somewhere. It's easy to create really detailed objects because obviously you have that VR headset in front of you, right? And you can look around the objects in VR, create stuff such as like little details, and you know, like say if you're making like a dragon or something, you can literally just go and look directly at it and be like, oh right, this scale up. And with the MakerPen, if you want a tip, don't freeze your object when you want to edit it. Just manipulate it. Because really manipulating MakerPen objects, really what it is say if I got a cube and click on manipulate, I can make that go either wider or bigger really. So really with the MakerPen, it's overall it's an easy way to create things and has helped me build a lot of things which I've been wanting to build for quite a long while.
That's awesome. Paige, you're here. So glad you made it.
Thank you. Thanks for your patience.
Hey.
I won't waste time trying to talk about it.
Waste time.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this is kind of a great time to pop in. We're talking about creator tools, and you're very involved in Facebook Horizon, in the closed beta there. Within Horizon is something fairly similar to the MakerPen. It's the World Builder tool. I'd love to first off give you an opportunity to talk about the project that you work on in Facebook Horizon, one of the projects with Better World Museum, and how the World Builder tool has helped you create that experience or set of experiences in Horizon.
Yeah, thank you very much, Nate. It's great to be here. It's actually Michael Nash Telekinesis who really inspired so much of my passion in world building while we were working together in Rec Room. He showed me how just wondering and using simple tools and gizmos you can create anything, right? So around that time I had already been working in Horizon. I just couldn't talk about it as a pre-alpha creator. and I've been also in an MIT Scratch game design course. So putting together like block scripting that I was learning there and working together with innovative young people in Rec Room, it made me just jump right into Horizon with a passion. I've been building worlds upon worlds and infinite spaces for community fun and gathering and games in Horizon, and it's been really easy. At first, I didn't know how to do anything. I went there with a small cohort to Facebook in November of 2019, and it was the first time I ever created a 3D object and made it animate. I couldn't even believe it. It was the first time, and I couldn't tell anybody, and I was just bursting. From there, I would wake up every morning and just start working, and that ritual continues today. Like the first thing I do is start creating in Horizon, and now there's a lot of community members there, and so we can create together, and that's just the best part of it's not just me building a museum or an experience or a game. It's really about the experience of sharing it together or building it together or empowering more people to build. Horizon Art Museum has a program called Plus Community Voices. And at one time I was just one of 25 people, but as each like wave of beta members would come into Horizon, I would greet new members and invite them how to create an interactive button that would amplify their voice. And just by teaching this really simple, like 1, 2, 3, super easy experiment to do something, it gives people like confidence instantly that they can build anything in the world they want and amplify their voices in the way that's best for them. So this was like the fundamental main program of Horizon Art Museum during all of COVID. And I would try to use even my like unemployment insurance weekly payments to try to compensate new members for doing this because, well, everyone I knew was all of a sudden an unemployed museum worker. And it just felt really important to acknowledge time and value, that sharing skills is valuable, right? And that something more can grow out of it if you have this sense that what you're doing is really important. It's not just that you're putting together a couple of primary shapes and gizmos and running a quick script. You're building like value from the inside that can change and create change in communities. And that's why I believe that world building and community building are partners.
Wow, that's well said. Well said. I totally agree with you on that. Thank you. Okay, so we have a little bit of time left. I want to pivot one more time, and I want to talk a little bit about the monetization of goods and in these virtual environments. I think back to the flourishing in-world economy of Second Life. Back in 2008, SL had $3.5 billion US changing hands resident to resident annually. These were payments for virtual goods, services rendered, land and rentals and sales. Looking back now, I see it kind of as a glimpse of the multi-platform VR economy that's starting to emerge today. We're approaching a critical mass in VR where sales of virtual goods can generate substantive revenue for creators. The hot topic right now, of course, is NFTs. It's interesting to think about what blockchain can do for VR from a creation standpoint, but or simply the collection of unique digital goods. I mean, look at Decentraland and how they approach land sales through blockchain. And with the recent crypto surge that's happened in the last few weeks, just as a side, I saw that Mana, the currency, the coin with Decentraland, was at like $1.50 per coin. That's up from 13 cents. So, I mean, crazy explosion of value in that cryptocurrency. I don't know. Maybe the founders will be announcing a major hiring spree here in a minute. Anyway, I'd love to kick it over to Artsy. You do monetize the works that you do for Altspace. Can you talk a little bit about how that works?
Yeah. So I didn't come into the space looking to monetize it. I didn't see it as an opportunity to monetize. I came into the space to, like, get away from real life, to be honest. And I found, love in world building. And so I was, creating these experiences just, for the love of it. And once I started, I think it happens in all art forms. Like when you share your art, other people want it, right? And eventually you hit a point where you get more offers than you have time. And so it has to turn into a way that, you get paid for your time, or, like you just you can't do things for people. So I picked two avenues. I have my custom work. So people that are either looking to monetize and they need a space. So they will pay me to build them a space. Something that's custom, something that takes me 16 to 20 hours to build. I have those clients. And then I have my personal projects where I'm just learning how to build, like my love for architecture using Blender or SketchUp, just to, continue that learning and that drive for creativity, instead of me keeping all of that to myself. And instead of slaving over sending and sharing, I put it on my Patreon. Like I created a Patreon. So the Patreon is for people that want to support me. Because I used to get donations all the time. People would go to my free worlds and then ask me for my Cash App. And instead of like just, people sending me Cash App, I'd rather just give them what I have, just been working on. So I've created, a Patreon account where I get paid monthly to learn and create and have fun. And then I reward them, people that support me as an artist and content creator in Altspace. I reward them with these, templates. And so over time, I think I've had up to 50 Patreon supporters continuously over the past 4 months. Yeah,
that's amazing.
I was super scared when I first launched. I was like, nobody's gonna join this. Like the economy in Altspace, nobody's trying to pay for anything. People are like, we don't pay for stuff in here. Like we don't trade money in here. We don't do that. And I was like, but this is a lot of work, and I can't keep giving everything away for free. So people that want to support me can support me, and I have a reward for them if they do.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's a tremendous kind of workaround, right, to the fact that there isn't a monetized marketplace in Altspace. I've certainly seen Venmo links on walls during performances, tip jar kind of stuff. But bravo for finding a path to connecting people that are looking for unique objects and spaces in Altspace. That's really great.
I also still give free sessions because I do want people to be able to create their own stuff, like you have to keep the community going. And so that's why I give away, the information for free.
That's awesome. So Paige, I know that Horizon doesn't have a monetized marketplace, but as you're building out your museum, have you thought about integration of have you thought about the future of these works of art and how those might be turned into unique assets like through NFTs?
Sure, Nate. I certainly have thought about it. Right away when I started building the museum, I also started creating a museum shop. So it's its own world, and you can hop through a door in most galleries has a portal door to the museum shop. And there's all kinds of objects that are actually created with primitive shapes, right? There's mugs and tote bags and t-shirts, but then there's special artists, community artists created objects, right? So I've noticed that certain people are great designers of different objects, and I've invited them to have their own table of wares in the museum, or special objects like this beautiful rotating orb that was created by one of my favorite creators in Horizon, and who's also a creator in Altspace, Micah J. Rocks. And this rotating orb, it's like a signature shape, right? So it's really is like having this rare special object. Now I'd love to sell them as NFTs, but I'm like really keeping my eye on the ecocide end of it. And, I really believe that we're incredible thinkers and innovators, and there's no reason why decentralization can't also be happening using alternative energy systems. Like, why isn't there a solar company that is tapped into blockchain, and that people, just so I'm kind of watching, and I really want to be actually on a wave of making it more sustainable and smarter, right? So that museums and all artists can get behind it. It just, I run museums for the Coalition of Climate Justice, and it's Earth Day, so I grapple with it, but we can create really incredible new systems because we're on the frontier of this. We're able to not be consumers as much as creators, also not just in VR, but in the way that decentralization really goes, right? So we have this power.
That's great. Yeah, thanks for reminding us it's Earth Day. And you're right. Virtual presence does have a footprint. I know that there are geothermal powered data centers in Canada. I mean, these things do exist, but with the growth of solar and wind power, like, we should be able to pull the computational resources that are required to run virtual humans or NFT, run blockchains. That's brilliant. I totally agree.
Yeah, really, I'm proud to use Facebook tools because of things like their announcement to be net zero. That means a lot to me. And as much as I really want artists to be independent in creating incomes that are sustainable, like Artsy Marie is really smart in having this Patreon. It's less ecocidal, but I am excited about NFTs. Of course, I'm a digital artist. So it's just that we can drive it and we can make it even smarter than it is right now.
Absolutely. Always. So I can hear the orchestra starting to play in the background here. Mark looking at his watch saying, okay, buddy, wrap it up. Oh, and there he is. Before I hand it back to Mark, I want to thank our panelists here. This has been such a great conversation. Hopefully the people in the audience have found this useful and are walking away with something that inspires them to get into social VR platforms and start building and creating. There's really no substitute, just getting in there and doing it. So at that, I'm going to sign off. I'm going to hand it back over to Mark.
Fantastic. Thanks very much, everyone. So if you're in the chat, a big round of applause for everybody. And we managed to get Paige in as well. We got the audio settings in. So that was fantastic. We're going to have a little 5-minute break. I just need to bring in the workshop attendees. So we have got Antonia from Unity, and she's going to be talking about avatar hand tracking and creating how we move and stuff in there. So she's got a little 20-minute workshop, so it's going to be very technical, but done in a fun Antonio Way. And then we've got Anya, who is a theatre creator, performer, actor, who has learnt Unity and coded and created her own piece of work that is now available on SideQuest. So you can go and experience her work. So she's going to do a little journey of how she created stuff. And then we've got Ryan, who is going to be talking about mocap performance, so real-time mocap with the Unreal Engine. So we're going to be covering all bases. So I'm going to stop broadcasting now. A big round of applause in the chat. Nate, Artsy, Marie, Michael, and Paige, thank you very much. Really enjoyed that. And I'll see you on the next one.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Nate.